All right, so here in the US, spring means testing season. And up here in Idaho, all high school juniors take the SAT. So this is the test that I'm the most familiar with. So that's what we're going to talk about today is prepping you if you should encounter the SAT essay. Here's what you need to know. First of all, it's not that scary. There's a pattern you can use, and I'm going to break it down for you today so that you'll be really well equipped when you do face this thing. So when you're given the SAT essay, you're basically going to read a short argument essay that's been published somewhere, and then you're going to write your own essay explaining how the writer has built his or her argument. It used to be that we were given a topic and then you were asked where you stand on the issue, if you agree or disagree with the stance, but that is not what is happening anymore. A couple years back, they changed it up. So it really doesn't matter what you think about the issue at hand. All that matters is that you can analyze how the writer built his or her argument. And so that's why I have this heart here. What if you hate the stance? What if it's something that just boils your blood and you got to speak about it? Don't. Because that is not the job on the SAT essay. You are simply going to crank out a response explaining, I guess, like a diagnosis or a picking apart of how the writer used argument tools to successfully or unsuccessfully convince the audience. So, by the way, I just want to say, even if you're not taking the SAT essay, these skills, this ability to analyze an argument and look at the specific rhetorical tools that are at play, that's a skill that you're going to use throughout your adult life, whether it is looking at sales materials of like what car to buy or looking at campaign materials of which candidate to vote for. This sort of stuff is what you should be able to do as an educated adult. So even if you're like, hey, Laura, I don't care, I'm not taking the SAT, I'm like, yo, you still should be able to do what the SAT folks are asking you to do. On the day of the actual test, you'll be given 50 minutes to make this happen, which is actually a healthy amount of time. You should not feel too stressed. Once you understand specifically what they're looking for, you can unlock this challenge very easily. And hey, that's what I'm here to do, is to show you what the College Board wants and what this looks like. So I have dug into the top scoring samples that they have released publicly on their website. And if you just Google College Board sample SAT essays, you can go there also. They don't release a ton of them, but the ones that they have all share these same characteristics. All of the top scoring papers follow the very traditional 5-paragraph essay structure. There's a clear identification of the rhetorical devices that they're labeled in the thesis. Like you pick out 3 tools that the writer has used, you identify them in the thesis, and then you examine one per body paragraph and you're good to go. And then they basically just want you to be clear. They want you to be efficient in your writing voice with just a little bit of advanced vocabulary. You don't have to dazzle them, and not every sentence needs to be overloaded, but here and there use a bit of high level vocab. Those words that we've been working through on Wednesdays, throw 2 or 3 of those in there and you should be good to go. Okay. So here's what the structure looks like. It is your good old friend, the 5-paragraph essay. I have where I break down specifically what good intro and conclusion paragraphs look like, and I'll link that in the description bar below so you can dig into those. But let's go look a little bit closer into what the ingredients are for a successful one of these, just a sort of general recipe. So first up, the intros of their top scoring essays are always about 3 to 4 sentences. You're going to cite the author and the title of the essay as you then summarize that person's stance in your own words. Don't repeat exactly what the author in the essay said in your intro. You can pick apart, you can put quotes that you then pick apart into body paragraphs, but in the intro, you don't need to quote directly from the essay that you've been given to analyze. The thesis statement, like I said just a second ago, you are going to specifically identify the 3 rhetorical tools that you have noticed and that you're going to build your body paragraphs on. And so I actually have some sample thesis statements. These are from actual essays that the College Board has released. Thank you, College Board, for putting that out for us. It's really, really helpful. And so here's the first example. Let's just say the author of the essay you're looking at is last name Smith, okay? So you have the funnel, the 3 sentences leading down in your intro paragraph to this sentence is your last sentence of the intro paragraph. Smith effectively, let's start again. Smith effectively builds his argument by using a personal anecdote, allusions to art and history, and rhetorical questioning. Bam. See, they like clear and efficient language, so don't overload it. Here's another example. Strategies Smith employs to support his argument include citation of compelling polls, reports made by prominent organizations that have issued studies, and a quotation from a prominent author. Like, it's super mechanical, you guys. Anybody can do it. You can plug and play in this. It's really not tough for you to come up with a strong thesis statement, and then you're just going to support it in the body paragraphs. Again, you need 3 identified rhetorical devices. Each body paragraph will be between 4 and 8 sentences. If it's shorter than 4, it feels too thin. If it's longer than 8, it's long-winded. You need to wrap it up. And then you'll directly quote a small passage from the essay that you've been given, and then explain why the author chose to use it and what effect that rhetorical device has on the reader. So in these body paragraphs, you're going to just look at and discuss any of the rhetorical tools. We've talked about ethos, pathos, and logos earlier. I think we talked about all the elements of editorial cartoons. I'll put links for those videos down below in the description bar. You could talk about the quality of statistical information. What sources did they use, and do they have weight? What are the connotative qualities of specific words? Like, why did they choose juvenile instead of infant, right? If they were talking about something, what connotative qualities do those words bring to mind? We've talked about logos. We've talked about pathos, right? Logic, emotion. Hyperbole or exaggeration. Why is that effective? Talk about allusions to other famous works, rhetorical questions that might engage the reader, the use of figurative language instead of saying so concrete, how they structured it. Did they, in their essay, go from weakest to strongest point? That's how a smart person does it when they're going to argue a point. Their strongest example should be their last. So in your essay too, your third body paragraph should be your strongest point. There's so many things that you guys can look to as you're building your body paragraphs. All you got to come up with is 3, not hard at all. And then you get into your conclusion paragraph. Again, just 3 or 4 sentences. You start narrow in restating the thesis, but in fresh words. I like this sentence starter. I give my classes all the time. When one considers the author's use of, ethos, pathos, and logos, it is clear that blah, 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 blah. It's a really effective generic sentence starter. It leads to success. It makes your reader happy. So you're welcome to use that sentence starter as you're beginning your concluding paragraph. And then you end with a kicker or a lingering thought like, why does any of this even matter? If you were a student in my class, we would be practicing these and I'd be giving you all kinds of feedback. I actually have a packet of articles and leading questions to help you through that. That'll be linked in the description bar below. But basically, you got this. It's not too troublesome. Once you see the pattern and you've practiced it a couple times, you should be good to go. Again, the College Board website is really helpful for showing some exemplar samples of this, of what they're looking for. They're not looking for poetry. They're looking for functionality. So keep that in mind. I feel like this video is running a little long, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Next week, I'll talk about how they score it and who wants to see those scores. So we'll kind of hit a pause button. I'll be back next Friday with part 2 of this look at the SAT essay. But for now, I think that gives you a pretty good foundation. You guys, I'm here every Friday talking about high school English awesomeness. And then Mondays, we do grammar practice, and Wednesdays, we learn more vocab words. So that's what we do here on the channel. I hope it's super useful. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Give me an atta girl, or just give the little video a like. Hit that thumbs up button. It shows me that you're here digging what I'm doing. You're picking up what I'm laying down. All right, you guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you again on Monday. Bye.